put that on. Have that coming on, man. Good Lord. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank God today's Friday. We don't gotta sleep. We don't gotta sleep. Thank God today is Friday. We don't have to sleep. We don't have to sleep. Oh my goodness, bro. We don't have to sleep. Thank God it's Friday. We don't have to sleep. Wow. We don't have to sleep. Thank God it's Friday. Woo, boy, thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We don't have to sleep. Thank God it's Friday, man. We don't gotta sleep because it's something like this. Oh my goodness. 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 How do I go about this? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? What is good? What's going on, everybody? We got Max Crosby. The Baltimore Ravens have traded for Max Crosby. What is going on? I can immediately, come on, man. What is going on? Let me put this on. What is going on? The Baltimore Ravens, I got it right here. Let me pull it up once again. The Baltimore, let me pull this up again. The Las Vegas Raiders are trading edge Max Crosby to the Ravens. The Ravens get Max Crosby. The Raiders get Baltimore's 14th pick in this upcoming draft. And they get the Ravens' 2027 first round pick. My God. Yes, this is real. This is not a joke. This is real. This is crazy. I was sitting here when the news broke. I was here in my office. I'm here. I'm watching the Miami Heat play against the Charlotte Hornets. It's a game that's coming down to the wire. Miami's trying to get the hell out of the play-in tournament. They're trying to get that 6th seed. Charlotte's within position of being in the play-in tournament to give themselves a chance to get into the playoffs. I'm watching that game. It's coming down to the wire. I'm chilling. I'm not worried about anything. Game winds down. I get an ESPN notification, and I nearly hurt myself. I nearly injured myself here when I got that notification. I couldn't believe it when I read it, because I got the ESPN notification. Let me see if I still have it up here. I don't think oh my God, I think I clicked it. No, I got it right here. I got the notification about Max Crosby being traded, and I could not believe it when I read the last aspect. I swear to you, I've been on Twitter this entire process saying EDC's not giving up 2 firsts for Max Crosby. That's not something EDC would do. That is not a move EDC would do. That's not something he's ever done. The Ravens aren't about to win a bid against Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry may be willing to give up 2 firsts. EDC doesn't do moves like this. I've been saying this entire process when they put the Ravens name in the Max Crosby sweepstakes. I said they're not going to get him. Just get ready to go get Khalil Mack and settle for that. I did not believe they were going to do this because EDC has never done this his entire time as a GM. He's never made a move like this. We've spent years begging EDC to make a move like this. He's never done this. He's never done this. So when I'm sitting on my couch, my recliner, massage chair, whatever. When I'm sitting in my office here, watching the end of the Heat Hornets game and I get that notification for ESPN about Max Crosby, I 100% believed it was the Dallas Cowboys that got him. As I'm reading this, I'm thinking, well, looks like Jerry Jones pulled it off. Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys were able to get Max Crosby. That's what I'm thinking. And then I read it and it says R. And I'm like, no way. And I see the word Ravens and I nearly injured myself stumbling out of my chair. I still got the ESPN notification here. Breaking news. Raiders agreed to trade 5-time Pro Bowl DN Max Crosby to the Ravens for the 2026 and 2027 first round picks. When I saw the name Ravens and Max Crosby and trade in the same sentence, I lost my mind. There's no way EDC pulls this off. There's no way EDC makes this move. There's no way. He's never done this before. He's never done this before in his entire career as the GM of this football team. He's never done this before. EDC loves his draft picks. He's not willing to give up anything for those draft picks. He's not willing to give up third round draft picks. What makes me believe he's giving up first or second round draft picks? The one time I remember him giving up a second round draft pick was when he traded for Roquan Smith. And essentially, they were going to use that to try to get a defensive. They needed a linebacker. Keep this in mind. They needed another linebacker at that time to pair up next to Patrick Queen. So that's why they trade. Not to mention, they needed a guy. It wasn't even just a guy to pair up next to Patrick Queen. They needed the guy because Patrick Queen was due for a contract, and we all know he was not getting it from Baltimore. They did not believe he was that guy, which is why they traded the second round pick for Roquan Smith. So that's one of the few times I remember him giving up a high pick for anything. But a first round pick, I could never imagine EDC giving up a first round pick. To see he gave up two first round picks, that right there, this is unheard of. I spent the entire week talking about how the Ravens are not going to get this. They're not trading for Max Crosby. You could put those delusions aside because EDC has never made a move like this. Go back and check his resume. From when he became the GM of this football team, he's never made a move like this. Despite the fact that the fans have been begging him to make moves like this, he's never done that once. This right here, this move goes to show me, this move right here shows me a few things. Number one, the fact that they were able to trade for Max Crosby, most likely looking to keep him long term, probably signals that Lamar Jackson's extension, in theory, that the final stages where they got to do a couple things and then it's officially signed, or they are getting ready to sign that. So Lamar's contract is most likely done because they can't pull off an aggressive move like this if they haven't gotten the extension done with Lamar. And Lamar earlier on today had one of those cryptic tweets. It's basically, it was a cryptic tweet that was, what was it? It was, it was a cryptic tweet, it was very similar to the same tweet he had made when he got his first extension, because he had like a SpongeBob meme, and then he had like a smiley face for a comment. So when Lamar Jackson made that tweet a few years back, people speculated he made that tweet meaning that the extension was done. 2 days later, we get an official report from Lamar himself that he gonna be here for at least the next 5 years, and he signed that deal, and we got all the reports. So now, today, Lamar Jackson also posted that very same type of format of a tweet, and now everyone's speculating he's probably got that contract done. Next thing you know, several hours later, the Ravens trade for Max Crosby, and there's no way they could go ahead with this type of move if they haven't gotten the contract done with Lamar. So it's very likely within the next few days, Lamar Jackson will get that contract extension done, because you can't make a move like this for Max Crosby without getting that extension done. So they probably got it done, which means they were able to finally go ahead with giving up those 2 first round picks to get Max Crosby. So that's what it tells me. Making this move tells me Lamar's contract's most likely done. Next, making this move showcases to me and to every Ravens fan that this is serious. If you did not believe that EDC's job was on the line heading into this offseason, if you did not believe he was in serious trouble, if you did not believe EDC was on the chopping block. If you did not believe his job was on the chopping block, if you did not believe EDC has his head to the fire and he has to deliver, here's your proof. EDC is on the hot seat. We all said it. When Harbaugh got fired and we had that press conference where Steve set the tone, we all looked at EDC's face and you could see the real fear and concern. That man knew he was going to have to deliver this offseason if he was going to stay here. Steve gave him a chance, and EDC had to deliver. We've all been speculating the last couple months. When Harbaugh got fired in January, we all speculated the last several weeks that EDC, his job's on the line if he doesn't deliver this offseason. And one of the main points Steve made in his press conference is that Baltimore has to get a game record on defense because the pass rush has not been what we've needed it to be. We have to go get a game record. And when Steve said that, I sat here and said, well, Steve, if you want a game record, tell EDC to go trade for Max Crosby. That would solve a lot of problems. 2 months later, here we are. Well, not even 2 months later. A month and a half later, here we are. So EDC making this move tells me he's on the hot seat and he knows he has to deliver. He has to be aggressive. He has to make moves like this because this team is in win now mode. He has to. He has to. He has to. And that's what makes this so crazy. That's what makes this so crazy. EDC would never make this type of move if it was the previous years. Why? Because John Harbaugh was still there. With John Harbaugh still being there, he had a lot of control, and he was working right next to EDC. And both those guys felt that as long as the team stayed competitive, they were going to be fine. Their jobs were secure. I mean, this is a team that's consistently making the playoffs. This is one of the best teams in football. We get a lot of wins. We make the playoffs damn near every year as long as we stay healthy. Why would we need to take risks? Why would we need to be overly aggressive? EDC felt the same way John did, which is why a lot of people sat back and said EDC should go alongside John. Because it wasn't just John. EDC felt the exact same way that John did. They both felt complacent. But Steve woke up, said enough is enough, moved off of John Harbaugh, and basically gave a warning to EDC. Step up to the plate, get aggressive, make legitimate moves, go get a game record, be aggressive in free agency, and put us in the position to win now. If you can't deliver, you can go. Steve set the tone, and EDC knows his job's on the line. EDC wouldn't have made this move last year. He wouldn't have made this move 2 years ago. If 2 years ago, the Las Vegas Raiders would have knocked on the Ravens' door and said, we want 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby, EDC would have hung up the phone. He would have closed that door. If they would have called him, he would have hung up the phone. He wouldn't have given up 2 firsts for Max Crosby. He wouldn't have done it. And keep in mind, this would have been in years that Baltimore would have a lot of low-end first-round draft picks because they would be drafting in the mid to late 20s or even closer to the 30s. 2 years ago, EDC doesn't make this trade. 3 years ago, EDC doesn't make this trade. Last year, EDC doesn't make this trade. EDC has to make this trade now. There's no more complacency. John is gone. John and EDC were complacent with how they were handling things because they saw the success. Why do I need to go get legitimate top-tier guys? Why do I need to give up all these draft picks? For what? We're winning games whether I make these aggressive moves or not. So why would I need to do that? But now that Steve set the tone and said what he wanted, I won a game record on that defense, EDC had no choice but to deliver. Which is why when nobody else was willing to give up 2 first-round picks to get Max Crosby, EDC was. I would have never thought that. I would have thought Jerry Jones would have been willing to give up 2 first-round draft picks. EDC doing something like this, it fully emphasizes that he knows his job's on the line. He knows he's in the hot seat, and he has to deliver. And let me tell you right now, this is one hell of a way to deliver. This is one hell of a way to deliver. And I know the conversations are going to be flying. Depending on what EDC... free agency hasn't even started yet. There's a lot of interesting talent in free agency. Baltimore can be aggressive and fix the trenches via free agency, which initially I didn't think that was going to be the case, but I don't know what's going on. So many pass rushers, so many interior defensive linemen, so many offensive linemen are available via free agency. Teams are getting rid of their linemen. The Vikings are damn near having a fire sale. They're giving up everybody. They can't afford them. So if Baltimore wants to build the trenches, this is the perfect opportunity. Free agency. Think about this. They just traded for Max Crosby now. That doesn't stop them from still trying to go potentially get Khalil Mack if they wanted to do so. We don't know how this Nnamdi Madubuike situation is going to go. By the way, if you saw it, Madubuike posted on his IG him working out. So that, again, is great news. We don't know. Nothing's been official. We don't know the situation. So we cannot say it's 100%. But a lot of people are hopeful he will be playing this season. So we don't know. I can't. Right now, my mindset is we don't know about his status, so we're not going to include him. If they want to still go get another veteran piece in Khalil Mack, they can still do so because he worked very well. He worked very well under Jesse Minter, and he still got some juice left. And that'd be a great replacement for somebody like a Kyle Van Noy if you wanted to do so. But I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying they have the opportunity to completely fix the trenches. There's some offensive linemen they can target in free agency to fix the trenches. There's a chance they're going to lose Tyler Linderbaum. You'll probably have to draft a center. You can also go get one of these centers that are available in free agency. They can make some serious moves. And EDC in free agency has to be aggressive. If he's doing something like this, he knows his job's on the line and he has to be aggressive. Free agency hasn't started yet. But we know, based off of this, EDC signaling to us, I have to be aggressive or else I'm not going to be here next year. So I'm going to be very, very, very active in free agency. Oh my God, I'm lost for words because, again, I never expected EDC to give up 2 first-round picks. Not to mention, can I sit back and say this, man? As much as I would have loved, and maybe EDC might still be crazy enough to, it's not going to happen, but like he might be still crazy enough to be like, I'll give up a future first round and something else to go get this guy. But like, the conversation this week was surrounding 2 players. And Baltimore was heavy on those 2 players. Max Crosby being one, A.J. Brown being the other. As much as I would love for the Ravens to get A.J. Brown specifically so Lamar can have that number 1 wide receiver, I was not fully comfortable with giving up exactly what Howie Roseman wanted. Howie Roseman is calling for a major package for A.J. Brown. He wants a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a starting player. I would not have been happy if we would have to give that up. But you would have to be aggressive if you're going to make a move. Baltimore was heavily invested. It was coming down to the Ravens and the Patriots as the 2 main individuals heavily invested in trying to get A.J. Brown. And then for the Crosby situation, it was the Cowboys and the Ravens. So the Ravens were apparently finalists for these 2 players. Baltimore had to get one. And if you ask me personally, I wanted Crosby over A.J. Brown. I'm not the only one that felt that. Crosby's one of the best in the game. I'll give up 2 first-round picks to put him in a Jesse Minter defense? Why wouldn't I do that? You serious? So I was a bit concerned that the Ravens might decide I'm going to go for A.J. Brown because I want to. I got to get that weapon for Lamar and stuff. And I was scared they weren't willing to give up what the Raiders wanted. See, Howie's asking for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a player. The Raiders said, we just want 2 firsts. That's it. We don't want any other players, and we want 2 first-round picks because we are rebuilding. We need those 2 firsts. If you ask me, would I give up 2 firsts for Max Crosby or a first, a second, and a player for A.J. Brown? I'm going to go with the Max Crosby deal 100 times out of 100. So I was a bit scared that the Ravens especially EDC, knowing he has to make a big move and get one of these two, I was a bit scared he may choose to crack and take what Howie was going to give him. Now, here's the thing. Howie Roseman, without question, we can have arguments and debates about all these other GMs. And again, however you feel about EDC is however you feel about him. He's one of the best GMs in football. It's undeniable no matter how you feel about him. That is how he's regarded. Howie Roseman is, no question, a better GM than EDC. That's the one guy I'm going to say is better than EDC in every fashion. So EDC, who loves to try to finesse teams to pull off these crazy deals like getting Roquan Smith for a second-round pick, or finding a way to turn Hollywood Brown into a first-round pick to the Cardinals, he can finesse those teams. You're not going to finesse Howie. He's better than you. So you're not going to be able to finesse him. So I was really scared EDC would crack and take that if he did not want to give up 2 first-round picks. And my mindset was he's either going to crack and get A.J. Brown or he's not going to get either. And I was leaning towards him not getting either. So I was telling everybody, we're not getting Max Crosby. We're not getting A.J. Brown. Get ready for Stephon Diggs and Khalil Mack. Those are going to be the huge acquisitions this year. But EDC knows the pressure's on. He couldn't afford to miss on one of these. He had to get one. So now with getting Max Crosby, the A.J. Brown to the Ravens is dead. Thankfully, I'm not giving up that type of haul for A.J. Brown. Philadelphia doesn't even want to trade him in the first place. But if they're going to trade him, it's going to be for a huge haul. And if you're looking at wide receivers here in free agency, why would I give up that huge haul for A.J. Brown? I'm just asking. You could get there's some quality receivers here that you can get to add. Now, of course, I would love to get Lamar, that top tier wide receiver that's still in his prime and stuff. I've been dying for them to get that to him. Of course, I want to get that. But you can't give up an insane haul where we all know you wouldn't benefit from something like that. Whew, man. Ah, my goodness, man. This is crazy right here. I'm still like scrolling through Twitter and still looking to see seeing anything else that may come from this. But no, again, it's just the 2 first-round picks. Still the 2 first-round picks for him. Oh my goodness, man! It's actually crazy. The Cowboys were willing to offer a first and second round pick to the Raiders for Max Crosby, but logically and understandably, Las Vegas opted for the 2 first round picks from the Ravens. Yeah, EDC had to get that, man. This is a crazy situation, man. Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. I would have never thought. I would have never thought that EDC would have pulled this off. I would have never thought that EDC would have been able to pull this off, man. Twitter's going off right now. Because there's somebody. There's somebody in the AFC North that everybody's feeling real bad for right now. I want to give my flowers, or give I want to give some props. Give my flowers. I want to give some props and some praise, as well as some hopeful wishes to one Joe Burrow. Because you got to be looking at this situation right now, and you got to just be absolutely disgusted. So let me get this straight. Cleveland, a team you do struggle to beat, Cleveland, and you have a losing record against them, by the way. Cleveland has Myles Garrett. Pittsburgh, a team you do well in beating, it's about, half and half. Pittsburgh has TJ Watt. And now Baltimore, a team you also struggle to beat. You've beaten them twice in your career. Baltimore now has Max Crosby. All while you guys lose Trey Hendrickson to free agency. What? Like if you're Joe Burrow and you got to deal with that offensive line that has not done a great job in protecting you throughout your career, though all his offensive linemen are healthy for the first time in his career. So maybe that will help them tremendously. But throughout his career, his offensive line has been a serious liability and has been the primary reason he's gotten hurt. And now, for 8 games, he's going to have to deal with, well, not 8 games in total, like 8 games like back to back to back, but like 3 divisional rivals, 8 games, 3 divisional rivals, 6 games between those. You're going to have to deal with TJ Watt for 2 of them, Myles Garrett for another 2 of them, and now Max Crosby for another 2 of them. Like, seriously, Joe Burrow, man, you're a trooper, man. I don't know how you could continue to stay in Cincinnati with this being the case. Like, if you're a Cincinnati, if you're Joe Burrow, you're watching your Trey Hendrickson, who's been just as great or just as effective as the other 3 guys we just named. He's walking out the door. He ain't coming back. So your defense, that already stinks, is going to lose their best player in Hendrickson. He's going to free agency. Meanwhile, you look aside to the other divisional foes, and now they got that guy. The Ravens finally got that guy in Max Crosby. Pittsburgh's been had TJ Watt. Cleveland's been had Myles Garrett. So now you got to go up against that with your offensive line constantly getting you hurt. And you don't even have anybody on defense to counter with. I ain't gonna lie, man. Joe Burrow, you a better man than most of us. I don't know how you still in Cincinnati, man. They are doing you dirty. This is why I refuse to take him out of the Elite Four. Look at what he's working with there. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, my God. I got to take a look at some of these comments here. I gotta calm myself and recollect my thoughts to talk about where we could be going from here and, the overall outlook of this. I have got to calm myself down because I didn't expect this. I did not expect this, man. This is a hellacious move. This is a hellacious move, man. This is a hellacious move, man. This is absolutely insane. I would have never expected the Ravens to do something like this, bro. I gotta get myself collected. Let me come take a look at these comments here. Let's pull this up. Let me see if I can actually pull them up from here. Oh my goodness. So let's see if we can start from the top. Yep. All right. So I'm going to take a look at some of these comments and then we're going to continue moving forward. Yeah, it happened. It happened. I take back everything I said about EDC. EDC had to deliver, man. This is crazy. Yeah, it is absolutely crazy why the Ravens, bro. Josh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You find a way to get TJ Watt. Now, TJ Watt ain't leaving Pittsburgh. You tell me someone that's the first round of this year that's NFL ready day one. You never know. There are some guys that come out of the draft that are ready day one. So that's absolutely the case. But the thing is, you don't know if they're ready day one. You could believe it, but you don't know. You just don't know. You just don't know. I like the trade. I mean, it had to happen. This is a win-win for both sides. What's going on, man? Appreciate you. Longmire 903, appreciate you, man. I like it. We got to sell the farm because our chances now. And I'm going to get into that next. Never thought EDC wouldn't make a move like this. Yeah, this was crazy. I literally fell to my knees in the kitchen. Dude, I nearly hurt myself getting out of this chair when I saw that because I couldn't believe it. Didn't think this would happen. Welcome to Baltimore, Max Crosby. Wow, this doesn't feel real. It does not feel real. Salute. What a night. It's crazy, Kevin. It is crazy. Yeah, good win for the Heat. I think it's the 4th straight win, trying to get out of the play-in tournament right now. And we don't have Wiggins didn't play tonight, and I don't know when we're gonna get back Norman Powell, but we gotta get him back soon. Travis Jones finna go ahead and relinquish. Yeah, you got to relinquish that 98. You're gonna have to do that. Congratulations on acquiring Max Crosby, Kinro. Appreciate that, man. Well done to you guys. You managed to keep yeah, you guys managed to keep Hunter. You got him on that 1-year deal. Keep this defense together. You guys have a terrifying defense. So managing to hold on to Hunter just for a year, figure out what you guys are gonna do. Good job for you, or for the Texans, for making sure they pull that off. Also, what else? Oh my God, and I'm trying to remember. Hold on, I know they. Hold on for a second. Yeah. Also, yeah, that's what I was looking for, because I was trying to think of who else talking about. Yeah. Good on the Texans for getting David Montgomery. I was jamming out to some Lincoln Park normally, but now this is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. Can't believe this is actually crazy. It's over for Burrow. He's gonna get murdered. I hope that's not the case. But yeah, he's gonna be fighting for his life, man. But he's already been fighting for his life in this division. T-Rob, Green, Max, bring back Jones. That's a hell of a rotation. Yeah, and you may still be getting, Matabike as well, but we don't know. It is crazy to see the Ravens pull this off, man. I feel like the Ravens will get a wide receiver in free agency sometime next week. Oh, they're absolutely going to be aggressive in getting a free agent. They were in on the A.J. Brown sweepstakes. This move for Max Crosby takes them out of that sweepstakes. So they're going to have to make some serious pushes. They may get two, not to mention, keep this in mind, they are looking to add a receiver. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a free agent. I don't know if they're going to bring him back. Tylan Wallace is also going to be a free agent, and I doubt they're going to bring him back. So they're going to be looking for multiple receivers if they don't plan to bring either one of those guys back. They're going to be aggressive in free agency when it comes to receivers. They're going to have to be. EDC has to get the Ravens a Super Bowl ring to even be in the conversation with Howie Roseman. I mean, yeah, we know that for sure. We know that for sure. This has been a crazy free agency hasn't even started yet, and this has been crazy. What's up, keeping it real? What's going on, man? Appreciate it. What's going on, Sam? Steelers, Aaron Rodgers meet Max Crosby. I'm not here to talk about Joe being a good or bad quarterback. I'm not here to discuss that today. Myles Garrett, top 10 defensive player ever. Trey Hendrickson ain't even top 100. I agree. I'm not saying Trey Hendrickson's on the same level as Myles Garrett. I'm saying from a production standpoint, he's been up there with those guys. He's not better than those guys, but from a production standpoint over the last several years, he's been up there when it comes to sack totals. So he's been there. So I was speaking in terms of Cincinnati having a guy that you can at least say is around that area. But he's gone now, and Hendrickson's going to hit free agency. I would laugh. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But can you imagine if he finds a way, if EDC finds a way to he trades for Max Crosby, and then you go and sign Trey Hendrickson to like a 1-year deal so he could stick it to Cincinnati? That would be insane. But I don't see that happening. That'd be crazy. Mentor and EDC cooking, man, different era, man, different era. As a Raiders fan, you got an absolute dog. Let's go win a Super Bowl. Yeah, the goal is to do that. As for the Raiders, again, this is fantastic for them. They wanted 2 first-round picks because they're building for the future. They got exactly what they wanted. All they got to do is hit on these draft picks, but everything they need to set themselves up for the next few years, they have. Keep this in mind. The Texans were in the same situation a few years back. They had a 2-year span where they had to hit on their draft picks and slowly build up the team. They did that. They ended up drafting C.J. Stroud that year too. and they put it together and became a contending team. Now, of course, people look at CJ Stroud and said he's the only reason they can't get a ring. But again, that's a conversation for a different time. When you look at the Texans, that is a team that is capable of going to the Super Bowl. They have the team to do it. They got to put it together, and CJ has to play better in the playoffs. But that's a different conversation. That's where your quarterback has to step up to the plate and not be the worst postseason player we've ever seen. Man, they were killing Lamar Jackson for his postseason play. CJ Stroud, the last 2 years, has found a way to just wash that aside. Oh, my goodness. That has been wild. Let's see here. Ravens GM fighting for his life. Possibly. Max Crosby since 2021, 91.4 run defensive grade, first in the league, 91.3 pass rushing grade, 7th in the league, 379 pressure, 2nd in the league, 81 tackles for loss, 1st in the league. Boy, he's gonna eat, and he's gonna eat on this defense, man. Jesse Minter is gonna have fun finding ways to get him going. Let's see. Some good moves so far. Max to the Ravens, DJ Moore to the Bills, McDuffie to the Rams, and Bradbury to the Bears so far. Listen, I'm not trying to be Debbie Down or a negative Nancy. It's a good move, but DJ Moore to the Bills is not a move that's going to move you. It's not a significant move that moves the needle. I want to be very clear with this. The Buffalo Bills last year turned the ball over 5 times in the division round playoff game against the Denver Broncos. They turned the ball over 5 times and still put up 30-plus points. Their problem isn't offense, it's defense. The reason the Buffalo Bills have not been able to get over the hump, beat Kansas City, and get to the Super Bowl is their defense. Their defense cannot make significant stops in key situations. That's why they find themselves in this situation. I'm glad they got DJ Moore to the Bills because you give another good receiver to Josh Allen. That's another weapon that you can add to that offense. But their problem isn't offense. The Bills haven't gotten to the Super Bowl because of their defense, not their offense. As much as we like to, as much as many of us like to clown, which again, I don't really clown Josh Allen. You've seen me make videos about the Bills not getting to the promised land, and I've talked about what's been holding them back. I've been saying this for the last 5 years. It's been their defense. This year was Josh Allen turning the ball over, but even so, their defense still played a role because they couldn't make stops. It's not the offense, man. It's the defense. The defense. So, I mean, that's cool. I'm not saying the DJ Moore to the Bills is a bad trade. I'm just saying it doesn't move the needle. Now, you hope Jim Lenhard is going to move the needle and morph that defense. And you hope that their drafting, their draft process this time around actually benefits them. You got to hope they lean heavily defensively in this draft and that their draft picks work out. Because it's not the first time that they've done this. Keep this in mind. They had the number 1 defense back in 2021 when they blew it in the 13-second game. They lost that game because they couldn't get to Patrick Mahomes. They spent the following year, the next year, they focused on trying to bolster that pass rush. It still didn't work. Obviously, they're going to have to keep trying that. But, like, the Bills' problem isn't offense, it's defense. So I can't really compare DJ Moore to the Bears in the same conversation as McDuffie going to the Rams, because that is a significant move for the Rams. But it is still a good move for the Bills. I just don't think any Bills fans is looking at that and saying, oh, that's a major move that's going to change the needle. No, the problem has been the defense. The offense has always shown up in the playoffs. It's the defense that's the problem for the Bills. So, yeah, if they can't get their defense in order, they're never getting over the hump. That's where their problems come in. Every contending team has had their issues. For Baltimore, it's been offense in the playoffs not being able to show up and show out. We've had a lot of offensive players that have not performed, obviously Mark Andrews being the main one in terms of our playmakers. And, of course, Lamar has had his ups and downs. Though in the last 2 years, Lamar has done his job in the playoffs. The only time he didn't perform well was in the AFC title game. But it wasn't just Lamar. It was a lot of times when the Ravens offense does not play well, it's not, oh, Lamar didn't do it. No, it's the whole offense that didn't play well. We know why the Ravens can't get over the hump. We know why the Bills can't get over the hump. It's 2 different reasons. Offense is not the problem for the Bills in the playoffs. So DJ Moore getting there, it's great to add another weapon for Josh Allen, But that doesn't help the defense that still chokes and folds in the postseason. They got to fix that defense. The second they can get an elite defense that can actually make stops in key situations, the second Buffalo does that, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are going to the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, that's going to be the case. The second they get that defense in order, they're going to the Super Bowl. But I don't think that's going to happen unless they make significant moves. They got free agency to try to make some moves. There's a lot of great talent in this free agency that you could try to utilize because teams are just letting them go right now. Like I said, the Vikings having a fire sale right now. If you're Buffalo, you may want to target Trey Hendrickson, but that's a conversation for a different time. I'm not here to talk about what Buffalo's got to do to bolster their defense. I don't care about that. I want their defense to remain the same. I want them to not get over the hump. I want to see the Ravens get over the hump. I don't need to talk about what Buffalo needs to do. Bills fans will handle that themselves. I just want to say that's not in the same conversation with the DJ Moore move, but it is what it is. I hope the Bills don't make the playoffs after they stab their coach in the back. That again, it was kind of a similar situation to the John Harbaugh situation where things had become stagnant and they had to move on. Like, again, the Bills were in a similar situation to the Ravens. Thing is, the Ravens missed the playoffs, but the Bills, things were stagnant. They just weren't getting over the hump. And every year, it's been because their defense in key situations can't make stops. Sean McDermott is a defensive-minded head coach, and his defense can never show up in key moments in the playoffs. That gets to a point where you do have to make that change. So I'm not mad at them. Hell, I was saying at some point, if they fail to get over the hump again, you're probably going to have to fire him. I said that before the playoffs started. Josh Allen's the best. It's between him and Matthew Stafford. Either one of those guys are the best quarterbacks in the playoffs. He was obviously the best quarterback in the AFC playoffs this year, by far. There's no reason he shouldn't get to the Super Bowl. Yet they fall to Denver. Yeah, changes were going to have to be made with the head coaching situation. That's just how it was going to happen. Moore and Shakir are good receivers. We will see with Keon Coleman, especially if they stay loyal to him. They're going to have to, man. The way they talked about first of all, the way they talked about him. The way their owner talked about him. Oh, my God. That was nasty. And they've done a lot to backtrack that since. In fact, they've doubled down on Keon Coleman because of how bad the owner talked about him. So, yeah, Keon Coleman going to be there next year. And Joe Brady going to try to get him more involved, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see the defensive moves for them. Yeah, we'll have to see what defensive moves they're going to choose to make. How am I feeling about the Ravens getting Max Crosby? A+. Absolutely worth it. And we'll get a little bit more into that. Sean McDermott may come back and coach Tampa Bay, in my opinion, because I think Todd Bowles gets fired. I don't know if he's going to get fired this year, though. That's my thing. If he was going to get fired, it should have already happened. Legitimately, if he was going to get fired, it should have already happened. It should have already happened. Oh my goodness. This right here is insanity. This is insanity, man. This is insanity. This is insanity, man. Okay, Myles Garrett is a top defensive player. Yes, I saw your comment earlier, Shars. I do not disagree with you. Again, my previous statement in regards to seeing that comment is saying that he's not in the same realm with Myles Garrett all time. But I'm saying over the last few years, from a production standpoint, he's been right there with them. That doesn't mean he's on the same level. We know what Myles Garrett's going through. He's getting double and triple teamed for the most part. Trey Hendrickson started to see some double teams that were still effective, but it's not nearly in the same realm of double teams that Myles Garrett is in. What I was saying is that from a production standpoint, he's been right up there with Myles Garrett and TJ Watt and some of these other, and Max Crosby and all these other top tier guys. That doesn't mean he's just as good as them. If he was just as good as them, the Bengals really would have had to give him a serious contract. I'm not saying he's on their level. I'm saying from a production standpoint, he's been right there, and he's easily the best defensive player the Bengals had, but they chose not to sign him. So, yeah. Hey, man, it is what it is when it comes to that head coaching situation for the Bengals. Zach Taylor took them to a Super Bowl. They're loyal. You can say whatever you want. Joe Burrow carried them. That's not true, by the way. But they're not going to move off of that. Zach Taylor is the head coach that took the Bengals to 2 AFC title games and a Super Bowl. They're not moving off of him. That's just the case. That's the reality of the situation. They're not moving off of a head coach that has. Marvin Lewis couldn't get them a playoff win. They got 5 playoff wins with Zach Taylor as the head coach. 5 playoff wins, 2 AFC championship game appearances, and a Super Bowl appearance. Yeah. Ravens interior O-line is a disaster. Yeah. Which is why they got free agency in the draft to actually address that now. And trading for Max Crosby means they really don't have an excuse now to not invest in the O-line. They have to. They absolutely have to. So you got free agency and the draft to address that. Trading for Max Crosby means you have to, free agency, you got to put a lot more, free agency and the draft, you put a lot more emphasis on the offensive line now that you've traded for Crosby. You have to. You have to. Absolutely have to, especially because you're probably going to lose Linderbaum. So you absolutely have to. All right, who in the wide receiver market should we go after now? Well, you're going to look to add pieces to beef up the line. They're going to look to add some veteran players for this offensive line because there's a lot of offensive linemen. They're not going to go after Tyreek Hill. I don't think that's going to be the case. We don't even know when he's going to be healthy again, so I don't think they're going to go after Tyreek Hill. Not to mention, Tyreek Hill, if he's going anywhere, he's going back to Kansas City, so that's not even a conversation. He's the second he gets healthy, he's darting back to Kansas City. That's just straight up. I don't think they'll get Alec Pierce. I don't think they're going to get Alec Pierce. I don't see that. I don't see them getting Alec Pierce. He's going to get top tier money. That's why he's leaving Indianapolis, because he's going to get top tier money. Yeah, that's just how it's going to be. That's legit how it's going to be. Honestly, let me. There was. Wait. I'm trying to figure out. I legitimately saw a receiver that I sat back and said we could look to target because he's gonna be available. Let me go see Adam. Okay, we're gonna have a bunch of stuff about the Ravens trading for Max Crosby, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. I know I saw one. I think it was today or yesterday, where he could potentially, where he's gonna hit free agency. Oh my God, can I see if I can find him? Oh my God, let's see. Oh my God, oh my God, it's gonna take a while to look for him. Because it might have been a yesterday thing. Let me see. All right. No. I mean, Mike Evans is an easy one to put up, but I swear there was somebody that was looking to potentially be available, and I cannot remember the name. Because oh man, I really wish I would have saved that. I would legit have to. Yeah, I'd have to look for that. There was a specific receiver that I saw was going to be available, and I cannot find out who he is. Oh my God. Maybe I can find. I could have sworn I saved this someone. I'm like, yeah, I could see us trying to go get him. Legitimately, it would probably take. Wait, no, it's not him. Not him. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna find him. I don't think I'm gonna find him. I don't even remember who it is. I don't think I'm gonna find him. Hmm. I think it might have been Darnell Mooney. No, not Hollywood. Hollywood, they'll probably attempt it, but that wasn't the person I was thinking of. I might have been thinking of Darnell Mooney. When I said they could choose the target, it might have been someone else, but I could have sworn it might have been Mooney or it might have been someone else. Because there's a few people that are said to be free agents because they're not going to be retained, and Moody's going to be one of the individuals that's going to hit free agency. Either way, yeah, the Ravens are going to be attacking free agency to try to get a receiver or two because both DeAndre Hopkins and Tylan Wallace are going to be free agents, so they're going to look to yeah, Darnell Mooney. That's the exact person I was talking about. Once again, I believe Mooney was the person I was talking about that they could try to target as well. Mike Evans obviously is going to be one of the veteran choices because the Ravens always want to have a veteran receiver, and right now they don't have any veteran receivers. The veteran receiver they have at this point is Bateman, who's been here longer than the others. The Ravens always want to have a veteran receiver, so they're probably going to try to see if they can get somebody like a Mike Evans. That might be the move they go for, but I'm not sure. Either way, they're going to be aggressive in free agency when it comes to the offensive line and the wide receiver because they have to. They absolutely have to. Absolutely have to for the most part. As far as receiver, I'm still looking forward to what Tez has to offer this season. Hopefully, Declan Doyle will be able to utilize him in this offense because the guy has got some potential. But we'll have to see. Kyler's probably going to Minnesota. That would be the best place for him to go. If Minnesota wants him, he's going there. Steve Bisciotti put Baldy on probation, and he started acting like a real GM. I mean, he put him on the hot seat. He didn't put him on probation. He put him on the hot seat. Either deliver or you're gone. So legitimately, that's probably what you would That's probably what you would expect. What NFL broke the record? Well, what year broke the record for most fired head coaches and coordinators? This season, this off season. It didn't break it, but I think it tied. Yeah. Like you're saying, Sam. Yeah, this past year in 2022, there were 10 coaches. Yeah, in both those situations, there were 10 coaches that were fired throughout that aspect. Take a 1-year run at Mike Evans. They're probably going to. First of all, Mike Evans. We're not sure. Mike Evans is going to be one of the top candidates at wide receiver that's going to be sought after in free agency. The big question is, does he want to leave Tampa Bay? Is he going to leave Tampa Bay? Or will he choose to sign a 1-year deal to stay in Tampa Bay? That's the thing. We don't know if Mike Evans wants to leave Tampa Bay. He can hit free agency, but he can also just sign a 1-year deal with Tampa and stay. So we don't know what's going to happen. Mike Evans is going to be sought after. But at this stage of his career, no one's going to try to give him a major contract. And unless he shows signs of wanting to leave Tampa Bay, which he's shown zero, he's loyal to Tampa Bay. So unless he shows signs that he wants to leave, I don't think he's going to want that. Dude, Stephon Diggs is such a Ravens move. I don't want him, but Stephon Diggs is such a Ravens move that fits the norm. I'd rather go after Darnell Mooney than go after Stephon Diggs. But that's a different conversation for a different day. Stephon Diggs is such a Ravens move. Everyone expects them to get that. That's why I told people, you ain't getting A.J. Brown. You getting Stephon Diggs. You're not getting A.J. Brown. You're getting Stephon Diggs. I don't want Stephon Diggs, but I could see them going after him. I'd rather if you just re-sign DeAndre Hopkins and we could figure it out with another piece there. Hell, I'll take Hollywood back. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not really a big fan of getting Stephon Diggs here. I'm not a big fan of that. Don't think that's going to move the needle for the offense. I'd prefer not. That's just me personally. But the Ravens will do what they choose to do. I said this before, but if not the Vikings, I could see Anthony Richardson sitting behind Lamar and the Ravens. Yeah, the Vikings are going to go after Kyler. That's the best quarterback available. The best quarterback available is Kyler Murray. The Vikings are going to go after Kyler. And if they have a successful year for Kyler, if they have a very successful year with Kyler Murray, they're going to sign him to a long-term contract because they're not going to make the same mistake they made with Sam Darnold. They're just not. Wiggins and Humphrey were awful last year. We need a corner. Yeah, they're going. First of all, I'm exempting every defensive player I saw under Zachary Orr's defense. You guys can feel however you want to feel about it. Zachary Orr and Mike Macdonald had the exact same personnel. Mike Macdonald had them playing like the best defense in football, and Zachary Orr had them looking like one of the worst, if not the worst, defense in football. I'm not going to hold those guys accountable for what I had seen last year. I'm willing to be fair in that. Now, do we still need to get another corner? Yeah, we do. And you can use the draft. Or you could choose free agency to sign a veteran corner if you want. You can sign a veteran corner. You can sign a veteran corner and you can draft one. And they'll probably look to do so because if you know how Jesse Minter's defense works, you want to have a lot of pieces in the secondary. You want a lot of DBs. So they're going to get a corner one way or another via free agency, via the draft. So I wouldn't be too concerned. They're going to go after a corner. But again, Wiggins and Humphrey's performance last year, especially Wiggins, I'm willing to exempt that knowing he's working under Zachary Orr's system. I am very excited to see what Wiggins can do with Jesse Minter utilizing him properly. Sometimes you're in a bad system and you're being utilized wrongly. It can happen. I was watching Zachary Orr drop Mike Green into coverage and say, hey, you know what? Go on third down. I'm going to drop you into coverage. One-on-one against Sam Laporta. You got it, bro. Like, come on. He was constantly dropping our edge rushers into coverage on third down. He had no idea how to generate pressure with a four-man rush. We would consistently blitz and nobody would get home. Like, it's too many problems. Too many problems on defense that I'm willing to exempt a lot of the performances I saw from that unit, specifically because they were not in a scheme that was beneficial to any of them. If we're sitting here at the end of next season under Minter's system and Wiggins is looking awful, now we got some questions. Because I watched Jesse Minter turn a bunch of third and fourth round defensive players into a bona fide top 5, top 10 defensive unit. He maximized what he had. So if Nate Wiggins can't be maximized with Jesse Minter, then yeah, it might be over for Nate Wiggins. But I'm willing to exempt anything I saw from any of our top tier guys in that Zachary Orr defense. None of them were put in a position to succeed. They constantly talked about the miscommunications that was happening throughout the year. I'm not blaming the defensive players from being stuck in a system that absolutely stunk and did not put anybody in a good position. Lord knows we were trying to. Zachary Orr was doing everything in his power to try to get Kyle Hamilton to cover up every single deficiency in his defense. And it was not going to work out that way because Kyle Hamilton is one individual and you're asking him to cover up everything while these other guys are stuck out of position, can't communicate, and are making mistakes because they're not in a position to succeed. So no, I'm not even going to get into that. So yeah, we'll see what they could do this year under Jesse Minter, and then we can assess them from there. Because again, Mike Macdonald had the same personnel that Zachary Orr had, and we saw clear differences between those two sides. Yeah, I'm not interested in Stephon Diggs, just to put that out there. Sutton's a free agent? You sure? He's a free agent? I don't think he's a free agent. And he's not a free agent. Yeah, he's not a free agent. So Cortland Sutton, he's not a free agent, and the Denver Broncos aren't gonna trade their best receiver. They were just in the AFC Championship game. They're not trading Sutton. A lot of people are gonna be taking for Arch Manning this coming season. Good for them. Good for them. And no, I don't want Stephon Diggs, but it is what it is. All right, that's good enough on the questions for now. For the most part, I now have to speak on my overall opinion of the Ravens doing this. I got to speak on that. Speak on the decision to I would not mind Deebo Samuel. He was still effective with the Commanders, even though they had a broken year. Deebo Samuel wouldn't be a bad choice. I know the Commanders are getting ready to release him. He played well for them last year. I was watching him, actively watching him on a week-to-week basis. Well, not week-to-week. Every home game I was there. Well, nearly every home game. So, I was there watching. And, yeah, he still had some juice. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I don't think that's what the Ravens are going to look to get. But, yeah. Now I can speak on my overall feelings about this because I had to give my instant reaction. Now I got to sit here and speak on my overall thoughts on the Ravens trading away 2 first-round picks and taking a risk in getting Max Crosby. Because you have to understand, this is a risk. It's a great risk, but it is a risk. You normally don't give up 2 first-round picks for one player. Whenever you make a splash move like this, it will always be viewed as a risky move. Even if everyone's like, that's an A+ move, that's a fantastic move, that's gonna pay off, it is still viewed as a risky move. Even though it's an A+, great move, great risky move, it's still a risky move. My overall opinion on the Ravens doing this is nothing short of shock and amazement, because for years now, I, as well as many other Ravens fans on this platform and other platforms such as Twitter and so on and so forth, many Ravens fans have voiced their opinion on the Ravens' decisions to be complacent and continue to operate on the protocol instead of ever breaking the norm and actually taking some risk. We've been begging EDC. We've been begging this team to take some legitimate risk. If you're serious about winning a championship, you have to go and make some crazy moves. You got to take chances. You've got to take risk. You're not going to get anywhere in this league if you're not willing to take a risk. If you stay complacent, then you're going to be complacent. And your position in the league is going to be complacent. And where you end up going in the postseason, if you get there, is going to be complacent. Baltimore had gotten to a point where they were complacent. They were complacent about everything. They were perfectly fine with operating the same way they'd been operating year after year under John Harbaugh, with EDC now being there. They were fine. John Harbaugh operated the same way every year. Ain't nothing changed. EDC operated the same way. I don't need to be aggressive. Let me get 11 draft picks and draft 11 players, knowing damn well that at least 4 of those guys aren't going to make the team. And then out of the 7 or 8 you potentially keep, if you have, well, it's not 8, 7, even maybe 7, out of the 7 players you would keep, because I don't know how many people, because I remember we had 11 draft picks. I don't remember if we kept 7 of them. I think we did keep 7 of them, because I'm trying to think of the year when we did have that, and we kept 7 of them. So yeah, instead of drafting 11 players, knowing you're not going to keep all 11 of those players on the roster, some of those guys are going to be practice squad guys, others might not even make the team. So you draft 11 guys, you keep 7 on your 53-man roster, and then of those 7, 2 of them are effective, 3 of them can't stay healthy, and the other 2 aren't really doing much. Instead of doing that, how about you take some chances? How about you use those draft picks to draft draft up? How about you use some of those draft picks, put together a package to draft up and go get a serious guy? Or use some of those draft picks to make some trades. Make some aggressive moves. For years now, we've been saying, EDC, we don't want you to be complacent. He was perfectly fine being complacent next to his buddy John Harbaugh. Take some chances. Take some risks. You're not going to get anywhere in sports if you're not willing to take some risks. Yes, there's some consequences that can come with those risks. Not every team that takes a huge shot or a huge risk ends up winning. It doesn't always work out that way. There's positives and negatives. There's pros and cons. There's the good future and the bad future. We've seen the good future. A good future in taking a risk is the Rams. The Rams took a risk and won a Super Bowl. We've seen the bad aspect of taking a risk. The Browns took a huge risk with the Deshaun Watson situation that they're still paying for to this day. And he's not even going to be their quarterback moving forward. There's times where you got to be willing to take risks because you cannot at all in sports. You cannot sit around and accept complacency with your team. If your organization accepts complacency, you will never be more than what you already are. Baltimore was accepting complacency, which is why they were never more than what they were. They were a Super Bowl contending team that was consistently making the playoffs when healthy and falling short because they just didn't have that extra gear. Maybe it was personnel, maybe it was coaching, maybe it was a mix of both. Maybe it was execution on the field. There was a various amount of things that was holding the Ravens back. And you know their reaction to all these things? You know what their decisions were in regards to these things? Stay course. Continue to be complacent. Year after year, getting bounced in the playoffs. You're going to make significant moves. You're going to be risky. You're going to be aggressive in this free agency in the offseason. No, let's stay complacent and make the same complacent moves we made year in and year out because we're a complacent football team. The Ravens had become a complacent football team that were perfectly fine with the circumstance and situation that they were in. They were making the playoffs every year. They were healthy. Sometimes they'd win a playoff game. Sometimes they wouldn't. They even got to the AFC Championship game a few years back. They were fine with that. That's what they wanted to be. They were fine with that. They wanted to be complacent. But in sports, complacency doesn't get you anywhere. You have to be willing to take some chances. No matter what type of circumstance it is, you got to take some chances. It doesn't always work out. The Brooklyn Nets took a major risk. They got Kyrie and Kevin Durant and then went and traded for James Harden. One can argue if they would have stayed healthy, they would have won the championship. Hell, if Kevin Durant's toe was not on the line in Game 7, they're heading to the conference finals. They would have been able to buy time for Kyrie to come back healthy, and maybe they go win the championship. Because the Eastern Conference Finals would have been Nets and Hawks, and the Hawks were not beating the Nets in the 7-game series. So they would have gone to the finals and taken on Phoenix. And it would have been real interesting to see what Phoenix would have done once you got Kyrie healthy again and James Harden healthy alongside Kevin Durant. The Nets could have potentially won a championship there. They took a risk and it didn't work out. But there were other teams that took some risk and they ended up working out. The Raptors took a risk on a 1-year rental for Kawhi Leonard, and they won a championship. In sports, you can't be complacent, despite the fact that they were consistently competitive with DeRozan and Lowry, and they got to a couple conference finals, but just couldn't get over the hump that is LeBron. They chose the year LeBron leaves the Eastern Conference, they took a risk and said, we're going to go get Kawhi Leonard. They took that risk, and it paid off with a championship. In sports, you have to be willing to take a risk. If you don't take a risk and you choose to be complacent, you will be what you are. You won't get better. You won't get worse. You will stick right where you are. And that's what the Ravens have been doing for years, sticking right where they are. They were being complacent. So they were perfectly fine just being that team that was constantly in Super Bowl talks. They were a Super Bowl contending team. They'd win 10 to 12 games. Some years is 13. The 1 year was 14. You get to the playoffs. You win a couple division titles. You maybe win a playoff game. And then you don't do nothing from there. You end up losing in these games that everyone leaves out and says, I don't know how the Ravens lost this. They beat themselves. You got so complacent with how things were going, both with coaching and with the decision-making that was happening in the front office when it came to moves in the offseason or in regards to EDC. So EDC was complacent. John Harbaugh was complacent. And because they were complacent, the rest of the organization got complacent. And when they got complacent, they became a complacent football team that would never be anything more than what they were. You got complacent. Instead of being aggressive, you settle for cheap deals. Let me go get this cheap deal here. Let me go get this cheap deal here. And yeah, it'll work out in some of these cases. You're getting cheap, affordable deals. It'll work out in some aspects. But is it really going to take you to the promised land? Is it really going to be that over-the-top move that gets you to where you want to get to? Or would you rather take a risk and see what happens? We spent years saying they got to take a risk. We said they got to make changes. Take a risk and make some significant changes. When we called for John Harbaugh's head, it's not because Harbaugh's a bad coach, but it was because he had grown complacent. The organization had grown complacent. The problems that were here 5 years ago were still here today, and they couldn't get over the hump. His philosophy in Baltimore, it had reached the end. It had gotten stale. Harbaugh's not a bad coach, but his philosophy had gotten stale in Baltimore. They needed a new voice. They needed a change. That's why Harbaugh was being called. That's why they were calling for his job, because it had gotten to the point where his philosophy wasn't moving them in the direction of winning a Super Bowl. They were just sticking right where they were. Complacency. And it got to the point where even the fans were complacent. If Harbaugh, then who? We said for years, you've got to take risk if you want to make it. In this league, if you want to win a championship, if you want to do something significant, you've got to take risk. The Rams took risk and won a Super Bowl. You've got to take chances. When you're a team that is viewed as a Super Bowl contender, you have to be the main person looking to take risk. You don't think the Eagles took a chance? You go trade for A.J. Brown, and then you also go and get Saquon Barkley? Those are some risks, especially because of Barkley. Some of the injury concerns that were there. You heard everything from the Giants. He not that good. They said it was a risk to get Saquon there. It wasn't going to help them get to the Super Bowl. It wasn't going to take them over the top. Lo and behold, it was a major part in their amazing season in 2024. And he was a factor in getting them to the Super Bowl. And once they got there, they took care of the rest. They didn't need Saquon to win the Super Bowl, but they needed Saquon to get there. They took a risk, and it worked out. Philadelphia got a ring out of it. You take chances. You take risk. You have to in this league. You can't be complacent. You can't be complacent. You've got to take chances. And now, you see this happening with the Ravens. They finally say enough is enough. They get Harbaugh out of here, and they bring in Jesse Minter, and all of a sudden, everything starts to change for Baltimore. You get a brand new coaching staff. And now you have a GM who knows he can no longer be complacent because his job's on the line if he is. All of a sudden, your GM makes a move he's never made in his entire career. He's never given up 2 first-round picks to get a player. But he just did so. People were begging EDC a few years back to make moves like this. And he was 100% dead set on sticking to his complacent ways. He was willing to ignore all of that and stick to his complacent ways. But now, you can't say that. You can't say he's willing to stick to his complacent ways because we all know for a fact he can't afford to stick to his complacent ways. Otherwise, he's going to be out of a job next year. When you choose to take that risk, everything changes. They took a risk by moving off a Harbaugh. That leads to them getting Jesse Minter. That leads to Jesse Minter putting together his own coaching staff and completely changing the coaching philosophy in that locker room. And that also leads to EDC having pressure put on him to deliver this offseason, which leads to EDC going out and getting Max Crosby. You see how it works? We don't know if this is going to lead to a ring or not. Our hopes are, yes. As Ravens fans, we're watching real changes happen, and we hope this will be the catalyst to get the Ravens over the hump. We believe this could be it. Making moves like this can put you in a position to go win a ring. This is why you make those moves. This is why you take those risks, to put yourself in a position to potentially win a championship instead of staying complacent. Now, we're good with what we have. Let me go get another 35-year-old veteran receiver, a 35-year-old veteran pass rusher, and work with that. Like, you've got to be able to take risk. You have to be willing to take risk. You're not going to go anywhere in sports if you're not going to take those chances. Can't win a championship if you're willing to be stagnant and not take a risk at all. You want to be stagnant. You want to be complacent. You want to stick to your ways. You want to stick in this in your same old box of doing the same thing every single year, and then you just hope it somehow pays off with a championship. That's not how it works. If you're not willing to take risk, you're not going to get anywhere. It doesn't mean the risks are always going to work out. And if it doesn't work out, you deal with the consequences. But you have to be willing to take those risks. It's better than being complacent. So now, Pandora's box is open. Baltimore has taken the risks. And now we're going to see if this results in the desired goal, which is to win a championship. So we'll see. And we will see, man. We will see. We will ultimately see. We will see what becomes of this, man. We will see what ultimately comes of this, man. It's man, this is crazy. They took a risk. We're gonna see if it pays off. But you're getting Max Crosby and a Jesse Minter defense. I'm very interested in seeing how that's gonna go. I am incredibly interested in seeing how things are gonna turn out when it comes to this. I'm glad that Steve and EDC got away from John's archaic control. I witnessed how any blockbuster moves were refused by him because John wanted yes man only. I mean, maybe it was a situation where John was in control of a lot of this stuff and would prefer not to have that play. Maybe John was the problem. Who knows? No risk it, no biscuit, as Bruce Arians says. You got to be able to risk it, man. You got to be able to risk it. That's just how it is. You have to be willing to risk it. You have to be willing to risk it, man. You have to be willing to risk it, man. You have to be willing to risk it, man. You have to. Have to be willing to risk it. Two first-round picks for him is too much. That's fine. You have to be able to take that risk if you want to go anywhere. And that's a huge problem that the Ravens have had for a long time. They've never been willing to take risk in this. And a lot of you fans have accepted that. Like, it's too much for this player. I'm fine taking the risk for a player. I'm not so high keen on them. Let me tell you this right now. We have a first-round pick in Tyler Linderbaum that's about to walk away. For nothing. I'm not interested in watching the Ravens draft all these players with this first round pick, draft these players, and it either doesn't work out like an Odafe Owe, or they walk out the door in 4 to 5 years because Baltimore doesn't want to pay him. I'm not interested in that. So yeah, you can say 2 first round picks is too much, but keep this in mind. If this pays off, and at the very least, let's say Baltimore's one of the best teams in football next year, the second pick, that 2027 pick, that essentially is going to be a pick that's around 27 to 32. That's not a major pick that can do much in the following draft, especially when you're trying to get a game changer. At the end of the first round, it's not often that you see a game changer in the end of the first round. I'm not saying there haven't been players like that, but usually if you're going to we're supposed to be building through the draft. We've been talking about building through the draft, and then when we draft these players, we don't sign them in 4 years. We build through the draft, and then we don't sign him. We build through the draft by drafting Patrick Queen, and then in 4 years, we don't pay him. We build in the draft by drafting Odafe Owe, and it doesn't work. We build in the draft, and now Tyler Linderbaum's about to leave. We keep talking about building through the draft, but when it comes to paying these guys, we don't pay them. So what building are you doing? You're not even retaining these guys. These are 4 or 5 year rentals. So what building through the draft are they doing? Talking about we're supposed to be building through the draft. For what? So we can lose these players in 4 years for nothing? Supposed to be building through the draft with Patrick Queen, but you don't pay him after 4 years. What are you building through the draft for? I'm tired of hearing that, man. I am. They've tried building through the draft. What has that gotten them? They haven't won anything through doing that method. You want them to continue to build through the draft and then it results in nothing? Year in and year out, building through the draft. People, go back and take a look at the draft picks from the 2021 draft. Go look at how bad that draft was. A majority of the players on that draft are not even on the team anymore. Majority of them aren't even on the team. Gone. I think the only two that are the only one that's going to be left is Rashad Bateman, unless they could get Tyler Linderbaum. Not Tyler. Sorry, don't. Let me actually pull it up. Let me pull it up because I forgot. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me pull this up real quick. I hope I save this. I really hope I like bookmark this somewhere or something. Let me see. Man, I hope I saved this or talked about this or liked this or something. Let me see. Let me see. Sorry, by the way, yeah, Linderbaum was in the 2022 draft. But if you take a look at the 2021 draft, the only person that's left on that team is essentially, left on that team is Rashad Bateman. So what building are they doing? What are they building? We keep talking about building. What have they built? They're supposed to be building through the draft, but they rarely they be using all these draft picks on guys. Half the guys don't end up making the damn team, and then whoever makes it, it don't end up being anything. Hell, I'm looking at the 2022 draft class, and if we're taking a look at this, the only person, there's going to be 2 people, maybe 3, that's going to be left from the 20. They drafted 11 players in the 2022 draft. Built through the draft. In the 2022 draft, they drafted 11 players. The people that they're going to have, this is 2022, 4 years later now. Cal Hamilton's still going to be on the team. Is Tyler Linderbaum going to be signed? I have no clue. He's probably going to free agency. They're probably going to lose him. David Ojabo, you know what happened with that. Failure. Travis Jones is still here. That's good. Daniel Falele. Armour Davis, you know what happened with that. Charlie Kolar, we hope to retain him, but we don't know if we hope to sign him to a small contract or something. We don't know what's going to happen with that. Jordan Stout, they also got to make sure they sign him as well. Isaiah Likely, he's gone. Demarion Williams and Tyler Beatty, you know what happened with those. So what are we doing with this draft? This was 2022. If you actually look at 2021, the only person left from the 2021 draft on this team essentially is Rashad Bateman. Because Adafe 088 traded away. So building through the draft through what? We're drafting a lot of these guys and then we're not paying them in 4 years. Hell, people are already talking about not paying Zay Flowers. So what are you talking about this building through the draft? They've been doing that for the years. They've missed on a ton of these picks. And for the ones that they have hit on, they haven't been able to retain all of them. Isaiah Likely's about to be gone. Tyler Linderbaum's about to be gone. Both of them were in the 2022 draft class. Both about to be gone. Charlie Kolar is also in that class. He may be gone as well. So what are we building through the draft? What's the point in doing that if in 3 or 4 years we're not going to pay them? What are we building for? So you can sit back and say it's too much. This is a much needed risk. Essentially, that 14 pick that they were going to use, that goes to Max Crosby. If this is successful, who the hell cares about the 32nd pick? If they win the Super Bowl this upcoming season, I don't give a damn about the 32nd pick in the draft next year. Who cares? That's what y'all got to understand. This year they're the number 14 pick in the draft. This year, the number 14th pick in the draft. You essentially traded Max Crosby by giving up that 14th pick. So Max Crosby is your 14th pick in the draft. If this works out the way many believe it could, You'll be drafting within the bottom 20, or hopefully you'll be drafting at 32. Who cares about the 32nd pick? You won a damn Super Bowl because you made this move. So I'm not too pressed about 2 first-round picks to get a player that could change everything with your defense. So this aspect of building through the draft, EDC been talking about building through the draft for years now. He's been saying building through the draft. What has that resulted in? Look at the trenches. Look at the state of the trenches. We're supposed to be building through the draft, and the trenches were as bad as we've ever seen them. I don't remember a time I've ever seen the Ravens pass rush be that terrible. Even when we had injuries, they weren't that terrible. But he's supposed to be building through the draft, and we're supposed to be A-okay with that. How about we take risks and take chances? How about we try that for once to see what happens? So legitimately, how about we take chances, man? That's just how I look at it, man. How about we take chances? Sorry, man. There's going to be conversations through and through about the Ravens giving up too much, 2 first-round picks. It's fine. I've been asking for years for the Ravens to take risk. They're doing it. We'll have to see if it pays off. Because when we weren't taking risk, it wasn't doing anything. We weren't getting over the hump. I'm fine with being safe and smart and making the small moves here and there if it results in a title. It hasn't resulted in that. So when you've been doing the same thing over and over again, you got to be willing to take a risk. When people are questioning whether or not you gave up too much for a player, you know you took a risk. Now it's time to see if it pays off. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I am. I'm fine with that. People are free to question it, and they're going to question it. Why would you give up 2 firsts for Max Crosby, who's about to be 29? Maybe you haven't even gotten the best of him. Everyone always makes these. I've heard the same thing. When we signed Derrick Henry, everybody said we signed a washed running back that don't got anything left. And since Derrick Henry's been in Baltimore, he's been the best running back in football. So I'm not here to listen to all these conversations. Yes, it's a risk, but if it pays off, this could be the difference maker for Baltimore, and this could propel them to winning a championship. So I'm not willing to listen to anybody that's going to talk about what you're giving up too much. You have to take a risk in this league, and they took a risk. They took a risk, and I'm fine with them taking a risk. I'm fine with them taking the risk. Ravens are trying something different this year. They are tired losing every time, not making the Super Bowl, making some moves in free agency to improve this team that's coming. Yes, we have reached that point. Lamar's about to be on his 3rd contract, and he's about to be in the league. He's entering year 9, so he's very close to being in the league for a decade. You've got to maximize this era that you're going to have. 3rd contract for Lamar, you got to maximize this time, and you've got to go win it. So I don't care about what's happening you could have had this guy, you could have had that guy. You could have had a lot of guys. But you got a guy that's proven. Who knows what the draft pick's going to be? You got a guy that's proven. You got a guy that's proven. And that right there matters to me. Why would y'all steal Max from my Cowboys? Y'all don't need him. Dude, our pass rush is worse than you. We were a top 3 bottom tier pass rush. Top 3. We were a bottom 3 pass rush. Go look at the numbers. We were one of the worst pass rushing units in the league. Even when y'all traded Micah Parsons, you still had a better pass rushing unit than we had. And you were much more effective. Your front seven was several times more effective than Baltimore's. Several times more effective. But I will say this, though. Cowboys fans we don't have any beef with each other. There's no real rivalry between the Cowboys and Ravens. There's barely any connection there. It's not like the Cowboys and Steelers that were going up against each other in Super Bowls. There's no real beef or connection between the Cowboys and the Ravens. However, I know Cowboys fans are starting to really get pissed off with the Ravens. Because first of all, they will sit back and say it, which, again, I don't even mind if they want to say it. They have more of a leg to stand on in regard to this than the Bills fans crying about Josh Allen in 2023. Cowboys fans to this day will say that Lamar Jackson stole the MVP from Dak Prescott, which, again, Dak wasn't going to win it. It would most likely have gone to Brock Purdy if they were choosing another quarterback other than Lamar, which would have really pissed them off, which would have been another whole thing with the Niners and the Cowboys. But, they said he stole the MVP from Dak, so that was stolen. They're still pissed off about that. And then Derrick Henry was supposed to go to the Cowboys. He has a home in Dallas. He constantly works out there. He was supposed to be a Cowboy, and then the Ravens swoop in and sign him. And now Max Crosby, it was literally a fight between the Cowboys and the Ravens for Max Crosby, and now the Ravens get Crosby. So I know Cowboys fans got to be tired of the Ravens always getting involved in their stuff and taking it. So I know they are not happy with that, man. They are not happy with that. We have a new EDC. What's going on, Raven C? Appreciate you stopping by, my guy. Raven C, you know it, man. I know we all know it. This move was done by a man that understands his job's on the line. Listen, when your job's on the line, you got to lock in. When your boss says you got to get it together or you're out, you got to lock in. EDC's job's on the line. He not trying to move. He not trying to have to relocate to a different city. His job's on the line. He loves his house. His family loves being here. He's not trying to deal with the moving process. He's not trying to be unemployed, and then now he's got to move his family to a new city if he can find a new job. His job's on the line. That's his livelihood. When a man's job's on the line, they lock in. When your boss comes up to you and says, I need you to be better. I need you to do better. I need you to be more effective at your job. I need you to do this. If you're not able to step up to the plate, you're going to be gone soon. When you hear that, you know you got to lock in. We got a new EDC because he knows his life's on the line. His job's on the line. I promise you, EDC would have never thought Steve would have fired Harbaugh. In fact, EDC probably thought he had a better chance of being fired than Harbaugh did. So when Harbaugh got fired, that really shocked EDC. Not to mention, that's his next door neighbor and best friend. So it was a huge shock to the system for EDC. And with the way Steve was talking, definitely sounds like EDC was clearly warned that his job could be next if he doesn't deliver this offseason. So yeah, we getting a new EDC. His job is on the line. He not going to get fired over this. He got to step up to the plate, which is why we got what we got. But wow, this has been something crazy, man. I'm lost for words. If you've seen throughout the stream, I don't really have much to say here. I am lost for words. I am lost for words. I am lost for words, bro. I'm lost for words. I never thought I'd see this. I never thought I'd see this. I never thought I'd see this. Man, this is... Oh, boy. EDC took a major risk here. For the first time, he's taken a serious risk. Because everything he had done prior to, he had not really taken a risk, man. I'm shocked, man. I'm really shocked. I spent the entire week telling everybody that we're not getting Max Crosby. I told everybody get ready to settle for the when it came to the conversations for Max Crosby and AJ Brown. I told everybody get ready to settle for Khalil Mack and Stephon Diggs because the Ravens are getting neither. And obviously you can't get both. I mean, you'd have to give up a crap. You would be giving up everything, saying you'd. Oh my goodness, bro. EDC ain't gonna do that, obviously. But there's no way you can get both. You would have to give up a lot of picks, and that's just like no. Because at this point, he'd have to give up the 2028 first round pick, and then give up a second round pick. He ain't doing none of that. That's ridiculous. He ain't doing that. So AJ Brown gonna stay an Eagle, or the Patriots are gonna budge and give up the first, the second, and a player for him. Otherwise, he's not getting traded. I think AJ Brown's gonna stay in Philadelphia. Howie Roseman had no interest in trading him in the first place. Everybody knew that, so he's staying there. But yeah, this Max Crosby trade, this is crazy. This is insanity. I promise you, I never saw this happening, bro. I legitimately never saw this happening. I spent the whole week saying this was not gonna happen, and now it's happened. Man, I don't even know what to say, man. Whew. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Ooh, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I've been here the last hour and a half, and I'm honestly still lost for words because I cannot believe EDC pulled this off. I would have never, in my wildest of dreams, I never thought in my wildest of dreams that the Ravens would have pulled this off. This is absolutely crazy. It's absolutely insane. Oh my God. This is insane. I'm shocked too. Dude, I nearly injured myself getting up when I saw this because I was literally stumbling in this office when I saw the report. I couldn't believe my eyes. When I got the report, I legitimately thought I got the notification for ESPN and I saw I saw the first words and it said Max Crosby. I literally thought the Cowboys got it done and got Max Crosby. I legitimately thought when the ESPN I'm sitting here. I talked about it at the beginning of the stream. I was sitting here watching the Heat and the Hornets game. I'm watching the Miami Heat. They're trying to close out against the Hornets. Hornets had won like 6 straight games. Miami was on a 3-game winning streak. They're trying to keep their winning streak going. They're trying to get the 6th seed to get out of the play-in tournament. And Charlotte's just trying to stay in the play-in tournament to try to potentially make the playoffs for the first time in who knows how long. But yeah. I was watching that game when I got the ESPN notification because I'm not on Twitter 24/7. But I try to get on Twitter to see any news that could happen. And usually when I'm not on Twitter, something crazy happens. But yeah, I got the breaking news from ESPN, and the first thing I saw was Raiders agreed to trade, and I'm like, oh boy, Max Crosby's been traded. And I'm thinking Max Crosby's been traded to the Cowboys because I said this throughout this entire week. I said Jerry Jones is not going to lose the battle to EDC for Max Crosby because Jerry Jones is willing to give up a lot of pieces to get players he wants. And EDC doesn't like giving up draft picks. This is something he's never done before. So I fully thought when I was reading this ESPN post, I fully thought that the Cowboys had gotten it done and got Max Crosby. So I was about to sit back and come on live stream and say, well, guys, the Max Crosby sweepstakes is over. The Cowboys got him like I expected. But when I saw the Ravens name pop up, that's when I lost my mind. I could not believe the Ravens would pull something like this off. This is not a Ravens move because they've never operated like this. They've never made a move like this before. They've never. The closest you could talk about the Ravens making a move like this was them trading for T.O., and T.O. did not want to play in Baltimore. So you know how quick that went. As a Cowboys fan, the better team won. Congrats. Y'all got a good player. Hope to see you on the Super Bowl one day with us. Hey, man, we're trying to get back there, man. This has been 12 years. We're trying to get back there ourselves. It's been a while. It has been a while. Almost hit the Vince McMahon out my chair. That's hilarious. I had to scroll down. I was cheering in my office at work. Good thing my partner went on patrol. Yeah, man, I couldn't imagine being at work and this drops, man. I would have lost my mind. I wouldn't be able to focus. This is insanity. I'm not gonna lie, man. This is insanity. Congrats, man. Gonna make the AFC North more interesting. The post Tomlin Harbaugh era is gonna be interesting. Man, next season is gonna be really funny. It's gonna be really crazy, man. I cannot believe it, man. Whew, boy. I don't even know what to say, man. I'm still kind of lost for words because like this is not a move the Ravens make. If you understand how the Ravens operate, they don't take risks like this and they don't make moves like this. The fact that they were willing to make a move like this and actually take a legitimate risk, it just goes to show you that the Ravens are officially in a new era. This is a new era for the Baltimore Ravens. All I can say is wow. That's all I can say. The Ravens pulled off a crazy move. They got Max Crosby. And now, with this being said, the next thing for the Ravens to do would be to head into free agency with the focus of fixing the offensive line. That's what they need to focus on. Now, does this mean they can't invest in the defense, invest in that like front seven one more time? No, I still think they'll make one small move, which I still think is on the radar. I can still see them going to get Khalil Mack. I can see because Khalil Mack worked very well in Jesse Minter's defense. He's very fond of Jesse Minter. So I could see Khalil Mack coming here. And once, honestly, if you were to make a move and get Khalil Mack, that pretty much solidifies everything that you're going to have. It solidifies the front seven because you would have Khalil Mack there. You would have Max Crosby. You'd have a Travis Jones, Mike Green, who's be coming into year two playing next to these guys. And if you are lucky, they also have, Tavius Robinson as well. And if you're lucky and luck's in our side, you may end up having Nnamdi Madubuike coming back. We don't know. It hasn't been fully confirmed yet. But you end up adding Khalil Mack, and then you're going to have Nnamdi Madubuike and all this other stuff. Bro, it's going to be one hellacious front seven to watch next year under Jesse Minter. Oh, my goodness. This is insanity, bro. This is insanity. I cannot believe, man. I cannot believe they made this move. So, yeah. Khalil Mack is probably still going to be somebody they're going to look to get. They're going to look to go get Khalil Mack because you could probably get him on a cheaper deal. And obviously Khalil Mack still, he has a relationship with Jesse Minter and likes Jesse Minter. So it's possible they could still go after Khalil Mack. But I think heading into free agency, the primary focus now shifts to the offensive line. It shifts to two things, the offensive line and the receiving core. You got to go get the Ravens they don't go into seasons without that legitimate veteran receiver. Whether you believe he's going to be effective or not, they want to go into the season with a veteran receiver being there. Right now, DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent. Well, he's going to be a free agent once free agency starts. So D-Hop's a free agent. We don't know if they're going to re-sign him. Tylan Wallace is also going to be a free agent. So essentially your main receiving group is going to be pretty much Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Tez Walker. They obviously have to add to that. So they're going to be active in free agency when it comes to receivers. They're going to try to get one or two veteran receivers. And from there, they'll look to more so focus on the offensive line. I think the offensive line has to be the primary focus, and there are some offensive linemen that are going to be available because a bunch of teams were waiving offensive linemen. They're probably going to also have to look for a veteran center if they cannot get a deal done with Tyler Linderbaum. Today's the 6th. Tomorrow's going to be the 7th. They still have 3 to 4 days to see if this can work. This can happen. Keep in mind that when it came to the what's it called? It's a completely different situation because he was on his 3rd contract, but many thought the Ravens were going to lose Ronnie Stanley to free agency because a lot of teams were going to offer him big bank. There's a chance he could have made 25, damn near $30 million, but, 2 or 3 days before the start of free agency, he came back on a team-friendly deal. I don't see a situation where Tyler Linderbaum is going to come back on a team-friendly deal, but, EDC did reveal they offered him a market-setting deal. It's probably not $25 million, but it was a market-setting deal. If he's willing to take that, it'd be cool. So, we'll see what happens the next couple of days. The fact that they made this move probably confirms that Lamar Jackson's extension has probably been finalized, or at least they're finalizing Lamar Jackson's extension because they can't make this move for Max Crosby if they haven't gotten that done. So, most likely in the coming days, we'll hear the report about Lamar Jackson getting extended, and then we'll see what they can do from there. But when it comes to Linderbaum's, contract situation, it's possible. It's possible that it's possible they get it done within the next few days, but I don't know. From what I'm hearing, this dude's about to make bank. People talk about he can make at minimum $25 million a year, so he might choose to go for it. Now my Cowboys don't have to worry now about Max in the NFC East, so we won. The Eagles didn't get him, and my Cowboys didn't get him, so it was a good day. Yeah, I don't know if it was true, but there were rumors that they were willing to potentially put Jalen Carter out there. And if they would have offered up Carter to go get Max Crosby, it would have been very dark. But I don't think that would have been a good idea. I don't think that would have been a good idea. But, that's it's over now, so Philadelphia ain't got to worry about that. But, yeah, you know what? I'm going to call it a night here. I'm going to call it a night here. I'm gonna call it a night here. We're going to come back tomorrow. I think we all have to sit on this and really, really think about everything that's happened. Because right now, we're still within the realm of emotions as to what happened. So I want to sit on this. I want to spend the night kind of just thinking this over. And at some point tomorrow, we're going to talk about this and what this could mean for the Ravens as we approach free agency and stuff. So I think I'll end it here. I pretty much got all my thoughts out, and we'll have to continue this conversation tomorrow. I think we need to give ourselves a little time to really sit on this decision. Like, Baltimore really pulled the trigger and got Max Crosby. And no matter how people are going to perceive it, this is absolutely a risky move, but this is the type of move you've got to make if you're trying to get over the hump and win a Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm gonna sit on this for tonight. I'm gonna sleep on it. I'll be thinking about it tomorrow, and we'll stream again tomorrow to talk and discuss more about this. So I'm gonna end things here. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Ravens got Max Crosby, and the world has gone mad. The NFL world has gone crazy. Free agency hasn't officially started yet, and insanity has already ensued. This is going to be one hell of a free agency. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to head on out, and we are all going to have to sit on this tonight, think more about just think more about what this could mean for the Ravens. Think more about what this could mean for the Ravens in the short term, in the long term. We'll think about this more. We'll discuss this tomorrow, as well as discuss, what could possibly happen with the Ravens in free agency. So we'll discuss more about this tomorrow. I'm gonna let you guys go get some sleep, and we'll be back tomorrow to stream once again to have another conversation in regards to this. So we'll be better set to kind of speak on this, because right now I'm still shell shocked. Like I really cannot believe this happened. I really wish I had more to say, but I'm still lost for words in totality in regards to this deal. I really could not believe they pulled this off. But with that being said, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for pulling up to the stream. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you tomorrow when we discuss this once again. Until then, good night, everybody. Be sure to stay safe